Well, it is a favorite summer destination for Michiganders and more, Mackinac Island, a place where life slows down a bit, trading the rat race for more of a turtle's pace. And if there's not a trip in your future, well, we've got a way to get you there anyway. A heartwarming story of mothers and daughters dating and finding our way home. We are talking about the latest release from one of our favorite local authors / TEDx speakers and entrepreneurs, Lindsay MacMillan. It is called Summer on Lilac Island. We've got Lindsay with us this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me back, Michelle.
Absolutely. And congratulations. It is the birthday of your book today. It is out right now. Let's talk about this new adventure you're taking us on.
Yeah, so Summer on Lilac Island, officially out now, and this mother-daughter story set on Mackinac Island, kind of Gilmore Girls vibes. We were going to call it Summer on Mackinac Island, but people outside the Midwest were having a little of a hard time pronouncing. They kept saying Mackinac.
Yes.
So it's a heartwarming, uplifting, and unifying story across generations. And I'm so excited to share it with the world.
Well, we're excited that you are sharing it. Let's talk a little bit about your background and your history, because you got a great story in and of yourself to where you are now.
Sure. So I grew up in the Kalamazoo area, graduated from Mattawan High School, always had a very supportive hometown community, but I went away for a while. I went out east. I started my career on Wall Street in New York City. I lived in London, and all the while I was balancing my love of writing and creativity with the business side of things too, and confused of how those would ever reconcile. But after many years of getting rejected, I got my first book deal, and now this is my third book in 3 years, and I've left my corporate job and created my own business in this entrepreneurial creative path. So I'm very grateful for it, especially getting to come back home and share it with this community.
Well, we are so excited for you. And what's interesting about your books too is that they are pieces of your life kind of written in. You know, you've got one set in London, you've got one set in New York, now you've got this Mackinac Island. Let's talk about, you know, the genres that you write in. Now, these were considered romance, your first two, and I've read them both, and I said that doesn't really track for me. Let's talk about what your books are more like, how people can relate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I never thought that I was writing romance, and I was kind of confused when my first publisher put a pink cover on and put it in romance. And like, there's definitely dating subplots, but it's always about the women and the friendships and finding yourself. And especially, I'm really happy with HarperCollins. This is my first book with them, Summer on Lilac Island, and they saw the vision. They're like, no, you're not romance, you're broader fiction. And we can really celebrate, I think, stretching out of that lane, because romance has come to mean something kind of different. So readers were set up for thinking it would be something else, and I didn't think it reflected it. But really it's about, I would say, redefining success in relationships and careers, finding yourself, and celebrating the women in your life. And that's been the through line of all of my books, and I'm glad this one is being a little bit more marketed more accurately, I would say.
Absolutely. And then you said you were at a conference that brought up about how we need more books written based in Middle America, because you do see so many written in these, you know, far off places and things like that. We want to maybe read what we live sometimes, right?
Absolutely, yes. So I was just in Philadelphia at the American Library Association annual conference with 15,000 librarians. I got to take the stage and talk about why we need more books set in Middle America. And it was actually following Governor Whitmer had given the opening address for the conference. Wow. So it was really cool. And she was talking about how purple Michigan is, and I was talking about how the hallmark trope, typically Midwest, is portrayed as where you go when you give up on your big dreams, or when, you know, you're just wanting to settle down with your high school sweetheart and leave your ambitions at the door. There's nothing wrong with that, but for me, having lived in bigger cities and coming back, I felt a little bit of that narrative in myself of like, oh, am I like settling, or is this kind of a lesser path, which is not true at all. It couldn't be you know, farther from the truth. So with the Summer on Lilac Island, getting to depict, yes, the charm and the sweetness of Mackinac Island, but also the diversity, the ambition, and the texture and the multidimensionality.
I love that so much. And you know, in addition to now being an author, you're helping teach kind of the next generation of authors, and really talking about how this has changed so much, because, you know, now people can self-publish and things like that. Let's talk about, you know, the other things you're doing.
Absolutely. So I think the through line is helping people and myself reclaim power. Wherever we've given power away, for many years I was getting rejected from publishers, and I felt like I was giving my power away, and that meant I couldn't be an author. And then finally I broke in. But now that I get to share that knowledge and empower up and coming authors and say, hey, we're going to find your way. We're going to get your voice into the world, whether that's traditional publishing, self-publishing, also coaching young professionals who might be feeling stuck, like they're good on paper and climbing the ladder, but they're far from their path and their calling. And so I think it's about reclaiming our creative power and thriving personally and professionally.
I love that. I love that so much. So what do you hope people take away from your newest book?
I hope it can provide much needed escapism this summer.
Yes.
But also in a way that has depth and heart and can actually be something that unifies mothers and daughters and families and friendships and people on different sides of the political aisle. You know, it's not a political book at all, but it's set again in Mackinac Island, which is bringing together people of all walks of life. And I hope that it can spark some great discussions while being a breath of fresh air and escapism. And like we said, you know, you can travel to Mackinac Island multiple ways, by boat or by book. So if you haven't been there, you can travel there by book and then book your ferry ticket for sure.
There you go. It is perfect. I love that so much. Lindsay, congratulations. And thank you so much for being back. Highly recommend all of the books. Can't wait to dive into Mackinac Island. You want to learn more about Lindsay? Follow her, Facebook and Instagram. And you have a website too. What's your website?
LindsayMacMillanCreative.com.
There you go. You can find her in all the ways. Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you, Michelle.